Yo, 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 what is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Jamal Pope, aka J Phoenix, and this is going to be your daily tarot and astrology reading for Tuesday, September 3rd of 2024. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful start to your week. Let's go ahead and hop into today's video, see what the cards have to say, see what the planets are doing, so we can see how you can be better prepared to navigate these celestial energies. I got this card yesterday, and it comes up today, and I gave this deck a really good shuffle, but we have the Devil card in reverse. The Devil is in the details. Do your best not to get emotionally manipulated, or issues of control could be coming up a lot today. Let's see what else we have to go along with it. I do have the Four of Cups, and it seems like the whole cup thing is definitely continuing from the day previous. The Four of Cups definitely speaks to apathy. It speaks to being offered something but not being able to see the value in it. But with it being in reverse, there's definitely even more of an element of, get up off your ass and actually do something with it. And then this is one of those moments where we could be being offered something and we're really taking it for granted and not really seeing the value in such. I want to get one more card just to. Well, I have the Knight of Wands. Yeah, definitely get up off your ass and actually move forward towards something. The Knight of Wands is saying that, move towards something with great passion and fire within your heart. But like I said, with that Devil card starting off, want to make sure that we're not being emotionally manipulated into doing something that we really don't want to do and is really not in line with our character, right? Now, astrologically, we do have the moon, of course, coming off of the new moon in Virgo on this day. It's going to spend pretty much the whole day in Virgo. We will see it make quite a few aspects here today. Starting off, of course, with the opposition to Saturn, which we'll see happen at 16 degrees. This is going to happen pretty early in the morning, right? So probably like before a lot of you guys even get to work the next day, we're going to see this moon make that opposition to Saturn. Of course, opposition to 180 degrees, generally a very challenging aspect. They're kind of going to battle with each other. The moon and Virgo, we're definitely a lot more concerned about the nitty gritty details, and we can be a little bit more persnickety from an emotional standpoint, feeling like things need to have like their perfect place and perfect spot, in their reality. But the opposition to Saturn, especially here retrograde in Pisces, it's like, well, sometimes things do happen randomly, and we have to learn how to work within the order that can come through chaos a little bit. Like I said, this is mutable water, so it is the most mutable, changeable, malleable energy of the zodiac. Pisces is, and Saturn is sitting here trying to bring some type of stability and some type of sense of order to it. So I think it's like emotionally, we may be pulled to wanting things to feel a little more perfect. We're going to be reacting and responding in a more Virgo-like way. The opposition to Saturn is going to be like, well, shit. Sometimes things just kind of is what they are. It is what it is. At the same time, there's going to be issues of control that can come up here. So it's like, if you feel like you need to control your environment or control other people, or if you're unable to kind of learn how to go with the flow of things or find that balance of going with the flow and also making your plans and trying to find those solutions and trying to have some sort of, like, I guess, solid ground, if you will. If you don't know how to really balance those things, then you're probably not going to have a great time with this aspect. I'm not going to lie. There could be some positive things here, of course, with the Knight of Wands, because I always see the Knights as cards of action. So with it being Wands, yeah, this is a time where we want to feel inspired to actually move forward and create something, especially with that Four Cups in reverse. It's like it's time to stop being apathetic and stop just sitting under the tree waiting for something to happen. I felt like we're kind of getting to that point where it's like it's not going to be offered anymore. Like the apple's not going to be offered anymore. The opportunity is not going to be offered anymore. It's time for you to actually go out and actually get it. And hopefully this new moon in Virgo kind of like jogs you up a little bit as far as like, you know what? I do have to go and make things happen in my life. I can't just wait for things to come. So the moon, we'll see it make the opposition to Saturn. We're also going to, of course, see it square over to Jupiter here at 19 degrees as well. So, challenging aspect, to this Jupiter, of course, Jupiter and Gemini. I think at this point, is it still moving fast or it's starting to slow down? I feel like it's still technically moving fast. It's still technically moving fast, but it's also not really the strongest planet right now in Gemini. Remember, Jupiter in Gemini is like a it's like a larger than life cat trying to fit into a small little box and make things work out. And that moon in Virgo is gonna be like, well, shit, like it doesn't feel perfect. It doesn't feel exactly the way that I want it to be. It doesn't feel like it has like its sense of place or sense of order. When Jupiter or Gemini is just trying to make sense of a place where it's just not very comfortable in Gemini. And Jupiter, of course, is, you know, Jupiter and Gemini can sometimes be like, well, fuck the facts and fuck the, because Gemini is all about the facts and trying to find the truth and stuff like that. Gemini, in many ways, can be very, it's similar to Scorpio, but it can be very investigative. It can be like the investigative journalist, if you will. It is the eighth house to the natural eighth house of Scorpio, so there is an investigative, truth-seeking aspect to Gemini. But Jupiter here sometimes can be like, if the truth doesn't feel good, then Jupiter can kind of turn a blind eye to it. Similarly, with this moon squaring over to this Jupiter, it's like if the truth don't feel good, and if it doesn't feel perfect, it doesn't feel exactly the way I want it to, then it can be easy to kind of turn a blind eye to these things. Now, granted, the moon, whenever it makes an aspect to a planet, it's short-lived. We feel it for a few hours, then the energy kind of wanes off and stuff like that, and that's just kind of how it is with the moon. But it can definitely, in the middle of the day, there can be something that comes up along the lines of like an uncomfortable truth that we need to perhaps face, and we can face it in a positive way. I think that's the thing about Jupiter, is that it can provide a positive, generally happy-go-lucky outlook on something. But I think it's going to be more so like maybe the solution isn't the most comfortable solution. Maybe it's going to require a little bit more work and effort on our part. And I think we have to learn to be okay with that, or we're not okay with it. We have that choice, right? So, and then the moon is going to make an aspect over to Chiron. It's going to make the quincunx over to Chiron. Awkward stare from across the room. And this is just about whether or not you're going to, who are you really? Aries energy it's pretty simple. It's like, who are you? What's the content of your character? The way that you present yourself to the world. And there can be an awkward aspect here with the moon in Virgo to Chiron. It's something like, well, it's like maybe the way that we present ourselves to the world, maybe we don't necessarily feel like maybe we're worried if it's going to be accepted by other people, embraced by other people. You gotta ask yourself, like, well, where does the value in this lie? This is truly how I am, truly how I feel. Do I give a fuck what people think about me? And that's the other part about this, is like where, like, your do I give a fuck ability, like what level is that? Do you give a lot of a fuck? Do you not give as much of a fuck? I think that's the other part with this that is going to be coming up here. It looks like we're heading into a grand Earth trine too, which is going to be that's going to be more of a Wednesday aspect. The other thing to consider this day is that we do have Venus here, which does make contact with the South Node, and Black Moon Lilith here in Libra. Now, this definitely is going to be bringing up a lot of relationship stuff. South Node and Libra can be bringing up past relationships, especially exes could potentially come back into the picture, or even just past situations within relationships can kind of come up and rear their ugly head, especially with the Black Moon Lilith here. That can definitely bring up enticement. It can bring up the areas that we don't necessarily want to look at, the areas that we don't necessarily want to face, maybe fears within our relationships, wondering or not if relationships are going to be able to work out or last. I would say if you are coupled up, it's one of those things where it's like, there is always going to be challenges within relationships and stuff. And, maybe one of y'all brings up something from the past that needs to be talked about or handled or whatever like that. But like I said, the Venus is not going to stay at this spot forever. It's going to move. And, it's going to be one of those things that just kind of comes up, by the time, especially that the moon gets to it. Now, if you are single, this is definitely probably going to deal with more exes just coming out of the picture and just out of nowhere and potentially try to entice you, especially with that Black Moon Lilith there. Juno is also involved. So Juno deals with our commitments. It deals with marriage, but it does deal with our commitments as well. And look at who Juno's husband is. Jupiter. And Jupiter was a crazy dude, right? Jupiter was a crazy, crazy guy. All right. And Juno stuck with this dude throughout all that shit, right? So I think there's an element here is like, well, I think we have to ask ourselves, what are we willing to put up with? What are we willing to compromise? But it also still comes back to, all right, well, you have to still come back to yourself. You have to come back. It's like, all right, well, what do I truly want? What do I truly value? You know, what am I willing to do for other people? But also, like, you know, is me doing those things for other people simultaneously putting myself down and my needs second? I think that's the other thing about it. I think we got to figure out a way to put our needs first without coming across as selfish. Or learn to find that balance and all that, because this is Libra. So this is trying to find the balance and harmony within the relationships. So it's not black and white. There's some gray area here. I think we have to acknowledge that and realize that, really, like today, especially when it comes to our relationships, it's not just black and white. There's always two sides to a story. Say if you have a relationship, it's like one person's account, the other person's account, and what actually happened. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing about this. We have to learn how to find that balance and find that groove and find that harmony. But like I said, if you work it out, because Venus is not going to be at this spot forever. We'll feel it for the next few days, especially as it gets closer to that Juno. But once it gets closer to that Juno and passes that Juno, then it's going to be the moment where we start to really ask ourselves, who and what we are going to be committing to long term, right? Final card of the day. Well, I have the Wild Boar for the Animal Oracle card. Whatever tradition or others expect of you, only to yourself be true. Essentially, don't necessarily just go with what everyone expects you to do or what people lay out for you to do. Like, they don't necessarily know what's best for you. You have to do what is best for you. You have to be able to go your own way. And if going your own way just, consequently, positive or negative, happens to align with somebody else's way, cool. If it doesn't, then you have to ask yourself, is this an irreconcilable difference that we have? Or is this something that I can still work with and compromise? Only you can really ask yourself that question, and only you can really answer that question. But ultimately, with the Wild Boar coming up here, is that don't allow yourself to get emotionally manipulated, but also realize that you need to be true to yourself primarily, because how else are you going to be the best version of yourself within a relationship if you can't even work out the relationship with yourself, which is the most important relationship that you ever will have in this life, of course, next to the relationship that you have with God, Spirit, whatever you want to call it. That's going to do it for your daily tarot and astrology reading. I trust that this message will assist you on your journey today. I know I didn't do the weekly video. More than likely, I'm going to be making that like Tuesday night or something like that. Maybe Tuesday morning if I get up early enough and I can actually like film the video and stuff like that. So if it's Tuesday morning, then it'll be live. If it's Tuesday night, more than likely it'll be recorded, and then I'll just put it up on my YouTube. But it will happen sometime in the next 24 hours, so be on the lookout for the next weekly astrology horoscope. But y'all take care, stay blessed, have a wonderful day, and I will see you all on the next video. Peace.